My name is Stephanie Adams. I am from Campbellsville University. I'm in their social work program. My major is clinical social work. My cultural spotlight is going to be on West Virginia, where I have spent the last 25 years of my life. I recently moved out of that area, but I am still a diehard West Virginia girl. I've got three kids who attend West Virginia University, and it's a team that we root for on the weekends. West Virginia is known as Appalachian country. We are known for our coal miners, our proud coal mining heritage, and we are especially known for our pepperoni roll, which is our signature dish. Pepperoni roll was invented by a wife who was making lunch for her husband one day, and she was trying to come up with a answer for the reason why his food was going bad before he was able to eat it. And so she came up with a pepperoni roll, which is essentially a roll stuffed with pepperoni and cheese. Um, and you bake it in the oven with the meat and cheese in it, cover it in butter when it comes out, and it stays fresh and good for days at a time. So this was really helpful for the miners, and it wasn't messy. You don't have to put mayonnaise or ketchup or mustard, anything else on it. Nothing else goes on it. You just eat it, and it's delicious. When I moved west to Washington, D.C., I made one. I made some for all of my neighbors, and they really enjoyed it. So today is January 30th. It is 4:51 p.m. Eastern Time, and we're talking about gender inequality. Um, I'm specifically talking about a gender apartheid in Afghanistan, which refers to the economic and social discrimination against individuals based on their gender or sex. This system is enforced through physical or legal practices that subordinate individuals to lesser positions. Recently, Nobel Peace Prize winner Malala Yousafzai urged Muslim leaders to support efforts to classify gender apartheid as a crime under international law. Speaking at a summit in Pakistan, she called on the leaders to condemn the Taliban's policies that prevent girls and women in Afghanistan from accessing education. To date, the Taliban has issued over 70 decrees governing the lives of women. These decrees restrict women's rights to education, employment, and public spaces. Access to education for women and girls in Afghanistan has significantly decreased due to these new regulations. Girls were first restricted from secondary schools in March 2022, followed by suspension from universities altogether. These regulations have had a trickle-down effect. By April 2023, approximately 80% of school-aged girls and young women were not attending school at all. This includes 1.1 million secondary-aged schoolgirls. It has been further estimated that nearly 30% of Afghanistan girls have never even stepped foot in a classroom. This confinement to the home has significant mental health implications, which appears to have sparked an acute mental health crisis, particularly among women and girls, whose distressing situation has given rise to the sense of hopelessness, anxiety, and despair. It has also led to an increase in their suicide rates. The long-term implications of these restrictions are also becoming apparent. UN Women Analysis Project projects that by 2026, the current situation will lead to an increase in early childbearing by 45% and a higher risk of maternal mortality by at least 50%, affecting future generations. We know and we have read that educating girls not only boosts their earning potential, but it also helps reduce poverty in communities. Educated girls tend to have fewer, healthier, and better educated children. Investments in girls' education leads to more female leaders, lower population growth, and reduced contributions to climate change. Education promotes economic growth by increasing employment opportunities and income. According to UNESCO, nearly 60 million people could escape poverty with just 2 more years of schooling, and 420 million people could be lifted out of poverty with secondary education. Each additional year of schooling increases by roughly 10%. increases earnings by roughly 10%. For every dollar invested in an additional year of schooling, earnings increase by $5 in low-income countries and $2.5 in lower middle-income countries. It has also been projected that because of these restrictions, the Afghanistan economy will lose $9.6 billion by 2066 if the suspension of women's access to higher education remains in place. So what can we do? What can we as global citizens do? We can encourage the legislation to make gender apartheid a crime. We can allocate long-term funding to provide sustained funding to strengthen women's civil society. We can direct funding for gender equality, ensuring that at least 30% of all funding to Afghanistan is dedicated to initiatives aimed at promoting gender equality for women. And we can integrate human rights in all actions. Thank you.